Hi Libra, I hope that you're all doing well. What I was seeing in the pre-shuffle was that it looks like things are moving forward now, which means that it can be easier to take steps and feel like it's actually going somewhere at this point. I'm looking at Ace of Cups. When we have Ace of Cups, this is about a new chapter that we have the potential to begin. Maybe even after much delay. Yeah. Feels like things are moving forward now. Like something has arrived, so now we can move forward. Even if this is an understanding. You know what I think of when I see Hanged Man and I see Two of Pentacles, I think of this idea of like having something going on that we're trying to figure out, but it almost feels kind of like what's actually trying to be solved here, or what do we actually need to be focusing on here? And it can be something where like something needs to get done, but then we almost like don't really know what it is and what's happening, and it feels kind of like it lends itself to things becoming somewhat confusing here. And I'm also seeing there be some type of focus having to do with where you want to go, but also your past is intertwined with this as well. And there can be a focus that you are wanting to put on things that feel good when you're connecting with them, things that feel nice, things that feel enjoyable, things that even feel like it returns the sense of energy that you give to it. And also doing all of this while wanting to move in the direction that feels progressive to you and feels like you're moving forward, and dealing with stuff having to do with your history simultaneously. And having Hanged Man there too, this can be something where it's like, I think that I'm getting away, or I think that I'm moving forward, and then I look around and see I actually went in a circle there, but I just didn't realize it. I could have sworn like I was moving forward, and you found that you got into some type of loop here. So it feels like a strange time where like maybe there are times when you feel like I've been standing still this whole time, and then you like went a mile within your progress, and then there can be other times when you're moving around and moving around and moving around and being like, I must have traveled quite the distance, and it's like you went 1 foot. It feels like something weird like that within the energy, where it feels like it's hard to like calculate, hard to assess. Meaning it can feel really difficult for you to get your bearings here and keep track of things. It's like every time you try to calculate or assess, it's like grossly misassessed for some reason, but it doesn't feel like it's your fault. And I don't even think that this has to do with you like not paying attention enough. It just feels like something weird going on within the energy that can make it difficult for you to keep track of what's going on, even where things are going even. Seeing strong Cancer energy here. Not only do we have the High Priestess, but we also have the Chariot, and then we have Neptune, all water energy. Yeah, something from your past I'm seeing is definitely present and coming up, but there's also new energy here too, or at least new chapter energy. You may have to set boundaries to not get sucked into something here, because it can actually be problematic if you do, but you can also want something that you feel connected to, even something that feels familiar and something that you can indulge in. But then I'm also seeing there be kind of like issues with that if this were the case too. I'm seeing a new chapter that's beginning. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that feels like immediately on the forefront you have to be working through this. I feel as well like this is very challenging emotionally and intuitively for you. And being as you are tuned in and connected, this can be something that just in general, it feels like you can feel vulnerable, you can feel exposed moving through this. You can feel kind of like you're trying your hardest to really get in tune and get in touch with the energy, yet still feel almost like what's even happening here? Like you're walking and walking and walking, and you've just been like walking in place even though some type of motion has been happening. All of this just so things can move forward. All of this trying to figure out, how do I resolve this? How do I figure this out? What am I supposed to do with this energy here? Because a puzzle has been placed in front of you and you're in the process of figuring out. And this is very much connected with the way that you feel. It's connected with what you want now. It's intertwined with your past, recognizing the difference. And it can feel confusing too, because you can be like, well, I want the energy to feel refreshed and for it to feel like a clean slate. Yet I also may want to feel immediately connected with things as well. So there can be this seeking of familiarity even though a new chapter is beginning, and that almost feels like a bit of a conundrum within the energy, because I'm seeing something again where it's like it can feel very easy to fall back into the past, to fall back into old patterns just because it feels familiar. But then having Queen of Swords there means that we actually have to be assessing this, because it's part of a new chapter that you're beginning for yourself, where you can be opening yourself up to more connection and love within your life, and even being in a better place with yourself on the emotional front, where you actually feel like you're tuned in and that you're honoring the way that you feel and your deeper wisdom that you have, so things can move forward. But there is big conflict here that has to be addressed, and I almost feel like something that can feel difficult for you to even pin down what exactly is going on within the energy. When we have Hanged Man there, these are the most tricky, slippery things to try to get a concrete feel for and understanding of, conceptually even. And so it's a very difficult energy to work with, because it's not really so tangible. It's something that you have to really be like plugged into to even connect with it in the first place, and then to attempt to organize it. It's really difficult to do moving through a process like this, and it can feel kind of stressful, and you can be trying to separate things here enough to get a good understanding, but it also feels just like a kind of messy process. And maybe you feel like the feeling process of this is messy too. Is there any advice with this? I feel almost like this isn't helpful, which feels frustrating, because I feel like what is the answer here? I feel like the energy is just all kind of muddled together. And even though I'm seeing you've been working at this and I'm seeing things be moving, like something actually is happening here, this can even be about like moving on from what you need to move on from. But what can get in the way is what you want to believe things are so badly versus what they actually are. And so if we still don't have the whole truth, it can be very difficult to know what is appropriate to do. Like if you had all the facts, that's okay, I'm getting it. If you had all of the facts in front of you of what was going on with this, it would be much easier for you to look at, assess, and move forward, but you don't have all the facts here with the Hanged Man. And this can be information that you have to tune in intuitively to connect with, to be able to access. Because this can be stuff going on like at a very... It's like the vibration that this is happening on, it feels like in the astral plane where this is happening, and so you have to be really tuned into it to see what's going on here. Otherwise, you're gonna miss things that, like, this implies that over there, but then missing that connection. And this is something that has to be tuned into. I'm wondering too, if you could have Moon and Neptune having some type of hard aspect within your chart. You could have Moon, Neptune having some type of hard aspect between you and this person, for those of you that you have somebody involved in this. And when we have Moon, which is about our perception overall. It's about everything that's happening inside of us, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're seeing, what we're deducing, our perception. When you have that connecting with Neptune, Neptune is like the greatest illusion if we want anything more than we want the truth. Neptune is an energy that will sugarcoat things, that will not tell you the truth so it doesn't hurt your feelings. Like, this is the type of energy with Neptune. Will not correct you so you can go on believing that when that's not actually the truth. Like, this is the vibe with Neptune. And so if we are not ready to face the truth totally, fully, and completely, we have misconceptions going on within the environment that keep us from making informed choices because we don't have the information there. Yet, this is something that you have the capacity to access this, but if you want to believe in a fantasy more than you want to believe in the reality of what's going on here, you're not going to get anywhere with it because you're not working with reality. If you want to be doing things in reality, then you're going to have to be totally tapped in and tuned in to what's actually going on. But you can feel like you're a little bit head in the clouds here with this and not wanting to come down a little bit because of having to fully face this. But also too, this doesn't feel comfortable. Like, you know something's going on and there's this feeling of tension in the pit of your stomach that you're like, why is that there? But it almost then feels like, I don't know why that's there, but it's like I'm seeing things be clear and obvious when you can cut through and see them. And this can be something that you're working on with yourself. Like, maybe there's something here about you needing to be realistic. Maybe there's something here about needing to only base your assessment off of what you're actually seeing and not your imagination or not your fantasy or not even the, like with Neptune, it can be like, well, I can see the potential of this. But is that how things are manifesting though? Is that how it's materializing? Because as much as the potential is the potential, like, that may not be the reality. And so if you were only assessing based off of like the reality of what you're seeing, what then? And do you have a bit of a different perspective here? Because I'm seeing something getting in the way. And I think that it has to do with where you are with everything that's going on and only with what's actually going on. Because what you want to experience, it really is, it's possible for you to have that type of experience, but I feel like this is keeping you away actually from the experience that you want to be having. You have to work with this though. Like, you can have the things that you want and be able to recognize that and connect with that, but you're gonna have to do this a different way if that's the case. And you can feel kind of blinded by the past here a bit, and you can be very sentimental and you can be feeling nostalgic at times, and it's something where you can get sucked into things and then you're like, this doesn't feel right, and then you try to move forward and then you get sucked into things again and you're like, this doesn't feel right, and then you try to move forward. It's like the same thing over and over again. So there's a need for you to distance yourself a little bit, enough to be able to assess, because this feels like when you are too much. Wow, this feels actually like, I just did a reading for Aquarius and their energy was like the opposite of this. So for your energy, it feels like you're too much in the feelings and not enough in the assessment energy. Because these energies, they have to go hand in hand. Like, we have to tune into what we're feeling, and then there's that part of us that's the problem solver that is like, now this is how we're going to have to take care of it. But I'm seeing not enough of this is how we're going to take care of it, and too much of like, this is happening and now this and now that's unfolding, and it just feels like there's not really a proper appropriate response to what's going on. There's just you like floating around in the middle of the ocean of this situation, and there's a really big lack of organization, and there is a need to ground this energy so that you can fully work with it. Because there are lots of elements here that are not being worked with because all of it is not grounded yet. And it needs to be grounded. And this can again be about separating the the illusion and the fantasy of things versus the reality of what this situation actually is. So rather than, because Neptune is an energy where it's very idealistic, and sometimes it's appropriate for us to be in an energy like that. Sometimes it is harmful for us to be doing things, moving through a situation in that way when we are becoming out of touch with the reality of what's really going on. And how you can know that that's happening is because something doesn't feel good, and you're going to feel that, like in your solar plexus, in your stomach, you're going to have like a knot there that you're looking at and you're like, what is this? That's the feeling that I'm getting from this. This is helping you be able to move forward and not just stay there tumbling around. Just see like a clothing dryer, just the clothes going around and around and around, and it just feels like things just really getting twisted up here. But it can be difficult because you feel very sentimental about this. And if you're only in your emotions, Neptune is an energy where it's like no boundaries at all. And like also we have Cancer, we have the moon here. This is just like no separation and no movement. But you're in 3D, and so you have to handle things in that way while you're here. Otherwise, things are going to stuff will get messed up with the energy. It's like gunk getting in the machine, and you have to clear it out so that it can work properly, because something is not working properly within the energy. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I'm actually seeing you're going to get through this. I'm very much seeing that this is something that you're going to move on, you're going to move forward. I'm seeing that you're actually going to do this. It just feels like it's a matter of when you're going to be ready to fully address this entire thing. Because it can be something possibly where it's easy to, this situation makes it very easy for you to distract yourself, to do this, to focus on that over there. It's like anything other than like what's actually going on and what's actually the issue. Feels like this is one of those situations where it's very easy to look everywhere else except for that, and that it's going to have to be a conscious and deliberate choice for you. All right. With that being said, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.